Enlisted is a World War II shooter by Darkflow Studio. It's published by Gaijin and it runs on the same engine as War Thunder. It tries to distinguish itself from other online team shooters by having bot squads. While other games use uncontrollable bots as a way to pad out servers, Enlisted has you equip and command a squad of AI soldiers. I say command, but they are essentially extra lives and explosive carriers. They're not going to fool anyone into thinking they're human. They constantly get in the way, stare at nothing, and so on. There are custom matches where you can play without them, but the main game mode does have bots. They're unavoidable. It's certainly unique. The fact that you have moving respawn points following you around actually makes the pace frantic in a way I find really enjoyable. I like the slightly arcadey movement speed mixed with the low time to kill and neglectable downtime. Because of the high number of bodies, the meta leans towards automatic weapons and explosives, but in general it takes little to unlock decent weapons. Vehicles also follow the War Thunder model, so rather than using HPs, the only way to knock out tanks is penetrating shots on critical components. Maps are usually small enough where combined arms isn't necessary, but there are some where tanks can definitely make the difference. If you meet one, there's specialized classes to knock out vehicles with AT rifles or other weapons. But all soldiers can carry mines, Molotov cocktails, satchel charges, TNT packs, or in the Pacific the kill stick. Between open-top tanks and anti-air guns, I think they did a decent enough job in mixing infantry and vehicles. I'd say that in general the gameplay is good, but in my opinion the game is bad. What do I mean by that? Ever played a faction-based MMO with servers and people are like, don't play this faction on that server if you don't wanna get stomped? Well, look at this game. I've not even spawned in and we're capturing the second enemy point and taking almost no losses. If you look at the scoreboard, you can see that the only people on the enemy team with a decent rank have just left. And I don't blame them at all. I got some old Enlisted footage on my hard drive that's literally just this. See this symbol? Darkflow partnered with Neuralink to see if baboons are subject to gamer rage. Play the wrong campaign and more often than not you'll be stuck with a team of such apes. And when you're the only human in a simian team, the promised variety of playstyles falls apart. Combined arms and progression be damned. Take an assault squad, always push the objective or nobody else will. But it's not fair to blame console players. It's not their fault that the game has crossplay and not enough PC players to fill lobbies automatically. The actual reason for this one-sidedness is that the game has declined in player numbers. And truth is, there are so few of them that more often than not the game has to use bots to make up for it, in a game where the majority of soldiers are already AI controlled. If I were to blame one thing, it would be the tech line, the way the game handles players' progression. War Thunder has a tech tree with a battle rating system. Players can only find opponents of either one battle rating up or down their own, because it would be ridiculous for a team that only has Panzer IIs to meet a T-34, wouldn't it? Furthermore, the tech tree allows Gaijin to add new vehicles anywhere. Not only the tech line forces players to grind for levels that have useless unlocks like fighters or worse versions of earlier stuff, Darkflow can only add things at the end, which means they can only add more powerful unlocks. All campaigns have suffered from this power creep. For example, Moscow went from a bolt action focused campaign to its New Game Plus version, essentially having the same weapons as Berlin. And campaign levels aren't the only thing that makes the popular side stronger. Each soldier has a rank, ranking up gives you perks, and perks are mostly useless until the soldier reaches higher levels, where they can actually make a difference in survivability or weapon handling. Weapons also have ranks you need to unlock by leveling squads and then upgrade using limited resources. You also unlock better equipment items, mines, stamina boosting flasks, swords for extra movement, speed. So a new player will have to fight with smaller squads, shittier weapon, no luxury equipment and worthless perks against big squads of min-max soldiers using fully upgraded late game weapons. I understand that this is the kind of game that's based on grinding better equipment, but if you put fresh installs against high level players without any form of matchmaking, do you really expect them to stick around? At this point though, I don't think the game has the numbers to support a matchmaking or battle rating system. The player base is split in 12 sides, plus custom games, plus event matches. It's a mess. The techline system and the campaign system might have been fine once, but as the techline gets longer with every update, the game becomes more unfair for new players, and as the game adds more and more campaigns, each one becomes less populated as the player base spreads out. Can you still have fun with Enlisted? Absolutely. Play the right side of the right campaign and it's a great PvE experience. And honestly, this issue I have with unbalanced games might not be there in other time zones or servers, so if you can stomach the wallet tagging, it might be worth a try. Yeah, this game really wants you to spend money. It's more of a alleviate the grind kind of paywall, with the exception of the Stalingrad campaign that stops you from unlocking certain level rewards unless you pay. The Pacific campaign also has a skip the grind button and in my opinion the most aggressive paywalling. Other than giving you more experience, matches get a lot better if you pay for a premium account. I got one using GOI coins I had left from selling a War Thunder event vehicle. With a premium account you get 2 vehicle squads, so you can slot in both a tank and a plane instead of having to pray that your team of randos complements what you brought. You also get 4 infantry squads, which massively changes what you can bring. Let's say that your team keeps the vehicle slot locked by spawning on their useless Autoblindo 41s. Since you can't spawn on the last 2 squads you used, with only 3 infantry squads you are forced to rotate between them. This makes slotting in a newly unlocked low-level squad risky and redundant. Without grind boosts, it takes dozens of games to level up an engineer 3 squads or whatever just so he can be as good as your engineer 1 squad, but also allow you to upgrade some semi-auto rifles. Another problem I have with the progression is how samey everything is. There's no historicity in squad compositions, both sides get specular squads with similar guns. So the Americans storm Normandy using bolt-action rifles and Piat launchers until higher levels, while the Axis in Tunisia and the Pacific get anachronistic prototypes to compete with Garans and such. Your Volkssturm squad might start the game with unique last-ditch weapons, but wait 20 levels and you can give every single one of your soldiers paratrooper rifles. The one part of monetization I really dislike is premium vehicles, specifically the fact that a lot of very common tanks and planes are just excluded from the tech line to be sold. Are you seriously paywalling a Stug in Normandy? Darkflow does some updates specifically to push some of these premiums. The rocket artillery update? All premiums. Amphibious vehicles with the Pacific campaign update? All premiums. And I get it, poor devs gotta eat, but it's hard to be excited for updates when the new content is either paywalled or appended at the end of the tech line, so I would have to play 100 more games shooting bots and console players just for a new squad that will make stomping bots and console players easier. Other than the wave of premiums with updates, there's often 1 or 2 free additions to the game, like stationary MGs, terrain deformation, the ability to move AT guns and so on. Last update they added heavier machine gun emplacements, just in case you want to win the game and top the scoreboard by playing one-handed. They also do a bunch of bug fixing, but at time of writing the game could definitely use some more polish. There's some very old bugs that are still around, like tanks shooting before the reload is finished. This guy on the AT gun. Engineer ghosts sticking around when they shouldn't, wonky reload animations. My favorite unpolished thing isn't even a bug, it's very minor, but I find it really funny. Here on the golden vehicle screen there's a Panther you can buy for a gold vehicle card, but they just pasted it in front of a British Crusader and didn't realize it. It's been like 2 years and nobody else noticed. Okay, Enlisted. It's fine for what it is, play the right side and you'll probably have fun playing dress up with your soldiers and stomping enemies every match. Progression sucks, there's no asymmetry in the squad system, and most early equipment is trash. Despite the fact that it's a free-to-play game and you've got nothing to lose by trying it other than your limited time on this earth, I'd say to not bother with Enlisted in its current state. I don't say that gleefully, I've been playing Enlisted on and off since the alpha. I'm just a sucker for combined arms shooters, and the War Thunder model for tanks is something that fits in perfectly, balance notwithstanding. But without a radical restructuring of the progression and matchmaking system, I don't see the numbers problem being rectified, which means new players are probably not going to have a great time. That's all, thanks for watching.